Hey everybody, and happy championship Saturday. It's going to be a great one. We got our four Power Four conference championships and our MAC later today, but I'm just going to be going over those power conferences real quick. So, of course, need to start with the noon kick, Big 12, Texas Tech, BYU, rematch from just about a month ago. Texas Tech won that one at home, 29-7. To be honest, I was watching that game, but I don't remember what I was doing that day. I didn't watch it super intently, but I know that Texas Tech left a lot of points on the board. Um, I'm sure BYU isn't thrilled with their performance either. Probably wasn't their best showing. Tough game on the road. But look, they're 11-1. They know how to win football games. And let me posit this. Let's say Penn State. Let's say this season they went 11-1, and their only loss was to conference number one Ohio State. Let's say it was the same score, 29-7. And then Penn State's going into the Big Ten championship game. They would be ranked at least six, seven. So BYU has a real bitch here for their only loss coming to a top four team. Granted, it was decisive, but it was also on the road. And now look, they have a clear path. All they gotta do is win and get in. But if they fight hard and lose, if they lose by a score, I honestly, if I'm heart of hearts, unbiased, I think they should be in. I really do. I don't think they would have a fighter's chance of winning the whole thing, but that's we let group of five teams in. So here's the thing: BYU is being so disrespected by the committee, by everybody, really, not really being given a chance. I did see the line is down to 11.5. I think BYU is going to land the first punch or two here. I think they're going to be fueled by that disrespect and come out raring, ready to go. So I think a good play here if you're going to first half BYU, first quarter BYU, because I think their defense is gonna. That's where the anger can help, right? That's where the frustration is going to help more. I think they are going to be flying around, not just because it's a conference championship game, but because they have a chip on their shoulder and something to prove. Because sitting at 11, last year that's the last spot in. This year that is the first spot out. Because of course we're not going to have four conference champions in the top 12. So look, I don't think BYU is going to win the game. I think Texas Tech's front seven is ultimately going to overwhelm, and the fuel that they're going to have from all this disrespect and this whatever you want to call it will wear off eventually. But I got the final score being, I think it'll be somewhat similar to last time. Give me Texas Tech. Give me Texas Tech 34, BYU 10. Still don't know how they're gonna effectively run their offense, which is Bear Bachmeyer running around and through everybody. Um, Texas Tech's defense is just gonna be able to shut that down again. I don't see how they score a ton of points. So there it is, 34-10. Next game up is the SEC championship. It's Alabama and it's Georgia. The big question here: if Alabama loses by 2 touchdowns or more, do they hang on to their spot in the playoff? I mean, they have two losses. One was in week one, which, as I say, results depreciate over time. But that was a bad loss at Florida State. Turned out to be a worse loss than it seemed a few weeks after. Then they lose to Oklahoma. But the rest of their schedule, they really did handle business. I mean, Missouri gave them a scare. That was a great game. That was Missouri. That was Missouri's chance to make the jump, and they didn't. Um, the Oklahoma loss. It's only by two, but their flaws were exposed that game. They cannot run the ball. I mean, the untimely turnovers. Um, but Oklahoma will do that to you. They're going to drag you down into the mud and make you play their game. Um, but looking at this game as a whole, Georgia's only loss is to Bama because for whatever reason Kirby Smart short circuits. He's not as smart when Alabama's on the other side of the field. He's an unbelievable coach. You would think that once Saban left, he would be able to quell this Alabama issue. But he seems to just have it stuck in his side. But I'd like that to change this week. I really do. I like that to change. I don't think Alabama has been particularly impressive most of the season. I mean, they win at Georgia, but again, we just talked about, first of all, that was September 27th. Coming off a bye, worth noting. And it's Kirby Smart against Alabama. But I think this time around, and here's the thing: Alabama isn't like they're not Alabama because they're Alabama. They're Alabama because of Nick Saban. Now I know it's a great program otherwise, but the whole just trust them no matter what, I think that's dead. Ever since Kalen DeBoer was smiling all happy when they escaped against South Carolina at home last year, I don't think they have that killer instinct, that grind instinct. Now they have talent, obviously, but I think Georgia's gonna want this one more. And I know that's probably very disrespectful to Roll Tide Nation, but I like the dogs here. It's more of a feeling than anything, but I think Kirby is on a mission, and I think they have a more complete team. It's gonna be a slugfest. I think under all day. I don't even what's the over under. The over under. Why is it not showing me? There it is. 48, 47 and a half. Under. Score prediction. Give me Georgia 20. Alabama 16. Go Dogs. We move on to Indianapolis, the Big Ten championship game. It's the Indiana Hoosiers, it's the Ohio State Buckeyes. This is huge. Ohio State hasn't won. This is crazy. Ohio State hasn't won a Big Ten championship since 2020, and Indiana hasn't won a Big Ten championship I think in like 60 years. So while both of these teams are safely in, and assuming no crazy score outcome, presumably going to have a bye, both of them. This has way more weight than I think it's getting credit for from the haters of the 12-team system, which a lot of points are valid, but that's not for this. It's not for this show. This is a big for everybody trying to pick this game. Do your best to strip the brands from the teams. Meaning, do not let them being Indiana, make you nervous to pick them just because it's Indiana, Ohio State. If you just change the uniforms of all the Indiana's team and coaches and everybody was wearing, Penn State, we'd have no problem. But because it's Indiana, we just don't know, are they actually as good as, we think they are? Look, I think their win at Oregon early in the year was one of the best wins of the season. I think that showed mettle, that showed heart, and that showed skill. They are not the same team they were last year, meaning they're a lot better. But with that being said, Ohio State just got this huge monkey off their back, and I don't see this being a letdown spot for them, because I think they went into Michigan, they handled business, they knew it was over in the third quarter, probably earlier than that, really. I think both teams are going to be ready to play for this one, and ultimately, it's really going to come down. I think Ohio State's defense is going to hold Indiana to under 24 points. So can Ohio State score 24 points? I think is what this game is going to be. And ultimately, I think they can, because they have the best player in college football in Jeremiah Smith, one of the best quarterbacks, although he looks like a child, Julian's saying. I feel like we don't talk about that enough. But look, Ryan Day is finally, I think, over himself. Maybe he stopped reading the press clippings. He wins at Michigan and says we're going to win with humility. Finally. Because when they beat Notre Dame a couple years ago, and he starts talking trash to Lou Holtz of all people immediately after the game, how is that where your brain goes? Look, this is the best game of the day in my opinion. And I really want to believe in Indiana. Like I really want Indiana. Just I'm not an Ohio State hater, but look, man, they're as blue blood as it gets. I love seeing new blood. But that being said, I got Ohio State. I think Ohio State wins. Let's go. Let's go 29 to 20. How about that? Now we talk about the game I'm personally maybe the most excited for, at least to see the outcome, is the ACC championship. Duke, Virginia, 7-5 Duke against 10-2 Virginia. Fun fact: Virginia has a loss to NC State, and they have a loss to Wake Forest, but they only have one conference loss. For whatever reason, the NC State game technically counted as a non-conference game because college football is just the stupidest sport of all time, and it's one of the reasons we love it. If Duke wins this game, we're going to have two Group of Five teams in the championship or in the 12-team playoff. I don't see a world where the committee can vault Duke from 7-5 unranked to above. I think JMU is ranked 20th right now. It's the highest ranked Group of Five. I guess they would only have to be ranked higher than one of them, them or Tulane, the winner of Tulane North Texas. But either way, it's not going to happen. If they find a way to beat Virginia, now they lost to them a couple weeks ago, 34-17 at home. But if they find a way, we're going to have just the funniest, most chaotic bracket you've seen with 0 ACC teams. Assuming Miami doesn't get in, that's another conversation. I want Duke to win because I'm a big fan of chaos. And look, we can't call the Atlantic Coast Conference Atlantic anymore. We can't really call it Coast either with SMU. We can stick with the second C. Conference is fine. So let's call it the Amorphous Chaos Conference. Quick break to make sure that amorphous is used correctly there, and it absolutely is. It means, without having shape or form. So yeah, that's the ACC. Look, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. Virginia, I think, is the better team. I do think they're going to handle business. Hope Duke figures it out. But I think it's going to be a stupid game with at least like 3 turnovers combined. Probably like a really crazy special teams play. I mean, I put it in my other video. Duke's fake field goal against UNC was awesome. Final score. I think Virginia is going to win 31 to 17. I think basically the same score as last time. All right, I'm going to leave you all with one bet. One best bet. Hasn't been a great year for me, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to win one on Championship Saturday. I'll place a lot more, but this one's going to win. I already talked about it. It is the BYU Texas Tech first half under 24.5. I think it'll open up a little in the second half, but that first half is going to be an bare knuckles brawl, and BYU is pissed. And Texas Tech's defense is Texas Tech's defense. So look, 24.5, 3 touchdowns and a field goal. Love it. This is not our grandfather's Big 12. This is not the can't tackle Big 12. These two teams are coached well, and well-coached teams know how to tackle. And yeah, give me that first half under.